What's going on, everybody? Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. This is DStyleBoxing. I know the name is boxing, but I know I'm talking MMA, UFC to be specifically, but it's okay, right? It's still combat sports. So somebody tell Floyd Mayweather to say combat, not contact sports, please. But anyway, um, look, it's if you're looking for an expert opinion or amazing insight, isn't the video, all right? It just isn't. I'm just going to give you my opinion here and how I believe anyway tonight's going to go. Okay, because I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to the UFC pay-per-view. Probably their biggest pay-per-view of the year. You know, so we'll see how this goes. Let's talk about it. So first of all, numero uno. I'm gonna go up the rank here. So I'm not gonna cover the entire card. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't know who some of these dudes are. Okay, I just don't. So, and if I know one of them, I don't even know the opponent. Right? And I'm not gonna go back and look it up. But I'm gonna talk about the fighters I know, which are in the main card. It's in the main card. Okay. So first of all, Robbie Lawler versus Donald Cerrone. All right. Welterweight fight. You know. This should be interesting. This should be interesting. You know, I like the UFC stats here. That they have like stats for a lot of this shit. Like for example, significant strikes landed per minute. Robbie Lawler lands 3.4 per minute. Cerrone lands 4.18. All right. For grappling, you know, they have different stuff. You can check that out. Let's go ahead and talk about here what I think is going to happen in this fight, right? I think Robbie Lawler is going to win this fight and probably by decision, right? Probably by decision. I think it's going to be a lot of people are expecting Robbie Lawler, I believe anyway, from what I've seen, expecting him to win this fight decisively. I think it's going to be competitive, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Might even be the fight of the night, all right? It's very possible this could be the fight of the night. You know, I think Robbie Lawler has definitely improved from when he was first in the UFC. He had gone to Elite XC and Strikeforce and all that, and then he got better. Okay, he definitely got better when he got back to the UFC. He got even more better. So this is a classic case of a once average fighter improving, getting better, and then becoming champion. Right? I think Robbie Lawler wins by decision. Is it a 3-round fight? I believe it's 3 rounds. So that's why I don't think there'll be a stoppage. It's only 3 rounds. I think Cerrone makes it competitive, but I think Robbie probably wins all 3 rounds. Probably Cerrone might pull off 1 round. We'll see. I kind of like Cerrone, so I like him to win. But I think Robbie Lawler's on his way to get another title shot. So I think Robbie Lawler wins that fight. Right? Chris Cyborg versus Tanya Evinger. I don't know anything about Chris Cyborg's opponent. I don't know anything. Okay, so I don't know anything about her. Okay, I really just want to get to the main event here, but I don't know anything about the opponent. But I think Chris Cyborg wins because it's Chris Cyborg. Okay, I hope it's a good fight. Every Chris Cyborg fight I see is like one-sided. I want to see a good fight. I want to see her tested here. So we'll see how that goes. All right. You want more insight on women's MMA? You go follow the coach on here. Okay. He'll give you better insight than me. Now let's go ahead and talk about a fight I'm really looking forward to. All right. Tyron Woodley versus Damian Maia. All right. I'm really looking forward to this fight, man. This fight is, to me, it's I know this is the age of MMA and where it's everybody's well-rounded, but it just I don't know, it still feels it's kind of like although Woodley started as a wrestler, but he's really knocking dudes out right now. So it has that the public is perceiving it as like the puncher versus the grappler. But Woodley could handle his own in the ground. Make no mistake about it. I believe Tyron Woodley is going to win this fight. For whatever reason, I'm seeing a lot of people picking Damian Maia to win this fight. Every time Damian Maia reaches this level, he falls short every single time. All right. And I think the reason for that is because his striking just isn't up to par. Okay. He has phenomenal Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. Okay. Joe Rogan over there is saying he's the best Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt ever in the history of the UFC. I don't know if that's true, but he's putting high praises for the guy. Can he get the submission and win? That is a possibility, especially if he gets his fight in the ground. And although Damian Maia has drastically improved, he has drastically improved his striking since he first got in the UFC. Drastically, it still falls short to Woodley. Okay, I think if Woodley lands clean, he lands one punch right in the chin, it's over. Damian Maia's going to sleep, right? He's going to sleep. He's going night-night, right? Goodbye, night-night. He'll go to sleep, right? Now Damian Maia's been there. He's got experience. Okay, he's been there against, some really good, opponents, but he's always fallen short. He's always falling short. So, in fairness, it was against guys like Anderson Silva, probably one of the boringest fights I've ever seen, by the way, right? I remember, Damian Maia put a whooping on Sonnen. This was before Sonnen fought Silva, and Sonnen gave Silva a hell of a fight. Was winning that first fight to the triangle choke at the end. So his grappling is a real deal. The problem is, can he get Woodley down? And even if he gets Woodley down, does he, will he be able to keep Woodley down? Woodley's a strong guy. He's very strong for the welterweight division. He's very strong, right? And he's he's explosive. And if Maia takes him down, I just don't believe that, he'll be able to keep Woodley down for a full 5 minutes. I think Woodley's adequate enough to get back up and to avoid the submission. Like I said, it's possible, but I think he'll get back up and he'll keep the fight standing. And I think he knocks Damian Maia out. Okay. In fact, I think he knocks him out in the first round. Right. I kind of honestly, I think Maia might even take him down, and the moment Woodley gets back up, it's over. Okay. So I got Woodley winning this fight. A lot of people, man, I'm seeing this shit on social media, are talking like Damian Maia is just gonna win this fight easy. It's insane to me. Are you guys crazy? Like I said, I can't take anything away from his grappling, man. Damian Maia is a hell of a grappler. Okay, if this was a submission match, yeah, I would pick Damian Maia to win. But when you're allowed to punch and kick and all this other shit, Damian Maia isn't. He's gonna get knocked out. Okay, Woodley's power is real. Okay. He was hurting Wonder Boy, who was a very good striker, right? And far better than Damian Maia, right? Damian Maia is going to sleep. Now, one problem Woodley may have, it is possible, okay, is that because he's been fighting like a striker like Woodley twice in a row now, he hasn't had to worry about somebody going for that takedown, but I think he'll hold his own. Woodley, he's a wrestler. And he's strong and he's powerful. I think he wins this fight. Okay, and I'm pulling for Woodley in this fight. Let's go ahead and talk about the main event of the evening. Daniel Cormier versus John Bones Jones. Man, this fight, let me tell you something about this fight. I really am looking forward to this fight. I'll be honest, I haven't even been paying attention to the UFC. For a while now. I haven't even paid attention. Okay. But this fight, I'm looking forward to this fight. Okay. I'm glad the fight's happening. For a couple weeks, I was wondering if the fight would even happen. Okay. I was like, is this fight even going to happen? Is something going to happen again? Because it got canceled twice already. One time that hit and run incident, and another time with John Jones took some pill and that he said he's going to have sex with. And he got popped with that, and it happened to have substances that are illegal and on the ban list, and here we are, all the bad blood. Okay, I believe that these guys don't like each other. I believe it. Okay, I believe that they don't like each other, and this is some true bad blood. I believe that. I don't believe this is hype. Okay, like I believe this is some real shit. Okay. Now, let me first say this. I really like Daniel Cormier. I really do. I think he's a great wrestler, and I want to see him succeed. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, and ever since he won the Grand Prix, that's when I first got exposed to Daniel Cormier. He won the Grand Prix in Strikeforce. Just the way he manhandled, you know, Josh Barnett, who was also one of my favorite fighters of all time in the UFC or in MMA. Just the way he just handled him was shocking, right? I couldn't believe what he did to the way he just picked him up like a rag doll. He just ragdolled him, and then of course he went to the UFC, and as soon as he announced, okay, he didn't want to fight his training partner, Cain Velasquez, you know, someone I'm looking forward to coming back. I want to see Cain Velasquez make a comeback, man. I know he's been in the comeback, but I want to see him back in the title picture. Ever since you know, he said, I'm going to go to 205. That moment he announced that, I thought about this fight. Like, hold it, because I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about this fight until he said, I'm going to 205. Daniel Cormier went to the light heavyweight division, 205, and I thought to myself, man, this is, I want to see that fight. You know, I wanted to see it immediately. I was like, did this guy want to, you know, Grand Prix, all that, right? I'm like, just make the fight now, him versus John Jones. I wanted to see it immediately. Okay, and they didn't do it immediately, which is fine. What Daniel Cormier did to Dan Henderson, I never seen done to Dan Henderson ever. Now, Dan Henderson has lost fights and all that. He's lost before, but I never seen him manhandled like that. I mean, he was just manhandled. I was like, wow, right? But then he fought John Jones. I picked Daniel Cormier to win that first fight. I thought, oh, those long limbs, low center of gravity, Cormier is going to take him down, no problem. And I wondered, how is John Jones going to fight off his back? Because till this day, we don't know. Till this day, we don't know. And he's fought the best light heavyweights probably ever, right? And he's destroyed them. I wouldn't say shocked, but I was surprised at not just that John Jones stuffed the takedown, but how easily he did it. That was shocking, right? That was a shocking part. And he looked like the stronger guy in there. He looked like the more powerful guy in there. And, you know, and it was quite something to see. And when he took down Daniel Cormier, in fairness, Cormier was exhausted by that time, but still, a guy who was an Olympic wrestler, right? When he took him down, that was very, very surprising. I was like, and he did it, I think, twice. Cormier finally got a takedown in the last round, I think it was, and John Jones was on the mat for 0.01 seconds. I mean, he got right back up. It was of no consequence. It just took out a lot of energy out of Cormier to pick up a guy who, you know, after ballooning up in weight, after the weigh-in, is probably 215 pounds or something. Just you know, picked him up, slammed him. It just, you know, didn't work out. You know, Daniel Cormier I just don't think he can beat John Jones. I don't think he has the ability. I hope he can pull it off, but because I've always been a big fan of the guy, and I really want to see a trilogy, like I really do. But the reality is, I don't care how long of a layoff he's had. I don't care. Some people say he didn't look that good in his last fight. Let me tell you something, man. This guy hates Cormier. He's not going to come in bad shape for this fight. He's going to come prepared. I think it's going to be probably more one-sided this time. Taking nothing away from Cormier, he's a great fighter, but he just isn't at John Jones' level, right? Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Cormier could pull it off. I hope it's a war. I hope Cormier wins a decision or even by stoppage, and I hope they go to a third fight. I think that would be huge, but I just don't think that's going to happen. right? I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Cormier's going to show heart in this fight. He ain't going to quit. Okay, there's no quit in him. He's going to try his best to beat John Jones. That's what's going to make this interesting. But he doesn't have the ability to do it to me. First of all, John Jones' striking is far superior to Cormier's. Far, like it's what they're most separated by, right? John Jones' elbows and the way he has long arms, but the way he uses the elbow, so he doesn't have to bring back those long limbs. It's just devastating, So, he could use that long jab as well. I think every time, if he's on the outside, I mean, John Jones could just beat him at that because he has longer arms. When they're on the inside, I mean, John Jones uses those elbows. So it's like one of those like pick your poison things. So he's going to have to eat elbows before he even gets to a clinch, and then it's hard enough to get the guy down. So I just think if he couldn't take him down that first fight, I don't see why he'll take him down this time. I want to see Cormier put him on his back. I want to see how John Jones fights under that adversity. I want to see it. But is it going to happen? Probably not. I just don't see it. Right? I just don't see it. I think John Jones wins this fight. I think it goes decision again. I think it goes 5 rounds. I think it's competitive the first 2 rounds, and then from there it'll just become one-sided again. It's quite a task. It's going to be a tall task for Cormier, I think. Somebody hopefully he could hold his head and uppercut him like Gustafsson. Well, he did uppercut. He'll land some uppercuts. I mean, Cormier, he's going to land some punches in there. He is. But it's going to be a tall task, man. It's going to be a very tall task. It's a tall task. John Jones is a tall dude, man, and he's got it down to a science. When somebody tries to take him down, it's almost like he has a low center of gravity, even though he doesn't. And that's what's fascinating about it. It's just so hard to take the guy down. It's so hard to take him to the ground. If a wrestler of the caliber of Daniel Cormier can't take this guy down, who's going to take him down? That's the crazy part about it. Like, who's going to take this guy down? It's more likely that even though Cormier is the Olympic wrestler and all that, it's more likely he takes Cormier down and puts him on his back in this fight. That's more likely. So we know how Daniel Cormier responds to that. He'll get out of it. He'll probably get the fight back to his feet. But how much is it going to take out of him? Because there's a window there. For Cormier to win this fight, he needs to land like something, first of all, that hurts, like a right hand, something that hurts John Jones, right? And in the moment that he's hurt, he's got to take John Jones down and land some serious damage, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I think something like that. And obviously, if he punches him and knocks him out, which is always a possibility, right? But I think John Jones at this point has proven he has a chin, because Cormier did punch him. He caught him with some good shots and didn't really. I mean, I'm sure John Jones felt them, but didn't take him out. So if he catches him early, catches him cold, that's one way. But I think he needs to hurt John Jones. He needs to put him on his back. He needs to land some damage on him. Force John Jones to try and get out of his back. Force John Jones to, roll to his stomach and then, try to put the choke on him. Force John Jones to use all that energy to get out of that and get back to his feet. And like he's got to be the one to do that. He's got to put John Jones in that predicament, in that situation. And we'll see. I mean, we never know what's going to happen. John Jones could fold when he's put on his back. He can pull off some shit we never seen when he's on his back. I mean, we just don't know. But we won't know. We won't find out till somebody does it. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Can he put John Jones on his back? How will John Jones react to that? Will it even matter? Will John Jones just get it back to the feet anyway? How good is his guard? Will Cormier not be able to do much to him? Will he just eventually stand him up? Will Cormier land some damage? That's what I want to see. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to. If he could even do that. But I got John Jones. I got John Jones winning this by 5-round decision. I think he outstrikes Cormier on the stand-up. I think he'll stuff Cormier's takedown attempts, and I think John Jones might take him down 1 or 2 times again. You know, and then Cormier will try to get that moral victory, trying to get a takedown again at the end. Very similar to the first fight. I just don't see why it's going to be any different, right? And where does Cormier go from there? I don't know. Okay, I just don't know. I just think things get more interesting. If Cormier wins, it's just more interesting because we could do a trilogy, all right? And then, you know, that'll be fun to watch. When both guys got victories over one another, let's get that trilogy going. I remember John Jones referred to Cormier as his, you know, as his Joe Frazier. You know, basically saying, I'm Ali, he's my Joe Frazier. Well, you can't be your Joe Frazier unless he beats you one time. Like, you know, he's got to beat you once, or he isn't your Joe Frazier no more, right? He's got to beat you at least one time, you know, legitimately. So I said I was amazed on the first fight that DC was even landing. I mean, DC put up a fight, but it was clear that John Jones was winning. Like, you know, it was just clear. And John Jones was the, you know, what do they call it? Octagon control, or what? I don't think they call it ring generalship, but he was the general in there. Like, the fight was where he wanted it. He controlled the tempo of the fight. You know, he didn't allow Cormier to get it down. When he wanted it in the ground, he got Cormier to the ground. You know, I just think he's a superior mixed martial artist, and I think we're going to see that tonight, right? I like Cormier. I'm going to pull for the guy. I hope I'm wrong, but you got to just give credit where it's due, and I think John Jones is probably the best mixed martial artist I've ever seen, right? And that's saying a lot. I've seen, you know, I grew up with MMA. Like, you know, I watched it, believe it or not, you know, so some will say Anderson Silva. Some will say, look, man, Anderson Silva was great. You know, one of the best strikers ever. Just amazing striker. Had good jiu-jitsu, but he didn't. I mean, he got taken down by wrestlers who are nowhere near as good as Cormier. You know, and yes, he eventually won those fights and all that, but you know, there's a different levels to it. You know, it's just one of those things. People don't even know this, but the guy who came closest ever to beating John Jones, like the guy who came the closest to doing it, was Victor Belfort. He had a submission hold, but he couldn't quite hold on to it. But that was the closest I've ever seen John Jones. And then there was the first round against Machida. Machida, just his awkwardness caught John Jones off guard. I mean, you know, it just caught him off guard. And once John Jones stopped, like, that's the first guy I ever saw outstrike John Jones from a distance, or at least make it extremely competitive, you know. But I felt like he was getting the best of John Jones from a distance. But once John Jones stopped playing that game, because that's Machida's game, you know, he started, you know, going for takedowns and stuff, and eventually got that choke while he was standing. I mean, it's, you know, he destroyed Machida after that. But I can't think of the. I think the Rashad Evans fight. Look, John Jones clearly won the fight, but it's. I think Rashad put up a better fight than I think even Daniel Cormier. I've got to watch the fight again, but you know, I was kind of impressed with Rashad. You know, even though he lost. Will age be a factor lead up to this fight? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a factor. I don't think age is a factor like it used to be back in, you know, in the day, man. Like it's with science and sports science, and with like the strength and conditioning that they have today. These fighters know, man, that they know when it's time. You know, and I think Cormier is as good as he's ever been. What about the roid? Somebody says that's the question. Well, look, obviously that's what I mean. I don't know. John Jones states that even USADA said he's not a cheat. That he just he was negligent and he took a pill he shouldn't have taken. But um, you know, I don't know. I know they're doing the testing for this fight, so if he's clean for this fight, he's clean, right? Well, guys, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. So I got Robbie Lawler winning. I got Chris Cyborg winning. I got Willie winning, and I got John Jones winning. It kind of sounds like I'm picking all the favorites, by the way. Who's more likely to pull off the upset? I would say, although I don't know anything about Cyborg's opponent, but from all the fights, I think Cowboy Cerrone is probably the most likely to pull off the upset, right? I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? But Damian Maia, he's unbelievable in the ground. Well, all fights start standing. That's number one. Willie knows it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing in the ground if it does go to the ground, right? And so it's I think Maia's gonna get knocked out, man. I think he's gonna get knocked out. I really do. First round. I think Damian Maia's getting knocked out, right? Sorry. Now Damian Maia gets a sub. Like I said, it's possible. He's that good, but I just think he's gonna get knocked out. Jones looks cool and composed. DC looks intense and emotional, says Khalid KD. Well, yeah, I mean, I saw the weigh-in, but I don't like reading into weigh-ins, man. I just don't. A lot of dudes are cranky at weigh-ins because that's and they get relieved once they're off the scales. But we'll definitely see how it goes, man. I can't wait for this fight. This is gonna be a good fight. I'm probably gonna miss the Willie Maia fight and the Cyborg fight because I'm gonna be watching Broner versus Garcia, but I can always catch those later or something. But yeah, I can't wait for this fight. All right. With that said, anybody's got any final thoughts out there? Any final thoughts before I wrap this shit up? You know, since I'm here, if John Jones wins this fight, especially if he wins in dominating fashion, I don't know. I just don't know what's left at 205 for him. I just don't know. Gustafsson, maybe a Gustafsson rematch, even though Gustafsson, he's had some losses since then, just to prove that he could beat him like decisively. Because I forgot to mention that one. That's the toughest fight Jones has ever had. Okay, by far. Some even thought he lost that fight. And Jones said that was mainly due to the fact that he wanted to use more boxing, and he abandoned a lot of the other stuff that he's good at, So I guess just because that first fight was so great and so competitive, some thought Gustafsson won. I thought Jones won, a close one, but I thought he won. I guess that fight could be done. But after that, like, what's left, really? I think he should go to heavyweight, right? There's talks about him fighting Brock Lesnar. Brock's a big dude. I mean, we're talking about 260. I mean, this is a big, massive guy. If he gets, if he may very well get on top of John Jones, what does John Jones do? I don't think John Jones has ever fought someone who's a lot stronger than him. Okay, but that would be a massive pay-per-view. John Jones versus Brock Lesnar could break all UFC pay-per-view records. It could do it. It can happen, right? So that's a fight that could happen. I don't know what you guys think in the chat, but so somebody saying that Cormier's not Frazier, like, because he's too fat. Like, come on, guys. That's just Cormier's body type, man. He's just, but he's in great shape. Like Fedor. Fedor never chiseled. Not all fighters are chiseled, okay? It's just it's just funny, man. Everybody gets on Cormier for that shit. I remember when Chuck Liddell had that gut, like he had a gut, like a 6-pack gut. Like, that shit was weird, man. That shit was funny as fuck. He had like a beer belly gut, Chuck Liddell. So they put Brock had a tough time fighting Mark Hunt, so Jones will run through him. Hey, Mark Hunt, he's short and all, but he's massive, and he has one punch knockout power, Mark Hunt. So, but I don't know. I think Brock handled him pretty easily, actually. I don't remember him struggling against Mark Hunt. He was extremely cautious. He was just being cautious, and he took away Mark Hunt's best weapon. He took him down. He pounded on him. I don't think he had a hard time at all, actually. To be honest with you, I don't think he had a hard time. I think John Jones can, if he could stuff the takedowns and he's a far better striker than Lesnar, and Lesnar does not like getting hit. So, yeah, can I see John Jones winning? Absolutely. But I think there's a very good chance we find out how good his guard is in the fight. Because I think Lesnar's going to take him down at least one time. So we'll find out. But I know the only reason I mentioned that fight because John Jones is very interested in that. He wants to see that, We'll see. I mean, Cormier could go to heavyweight too. I mean, we already saw Cormier ragdoll freaking Josh Barnett and shit. He was ragdolling, heavyweights and Strikeforce. So Cormier could go up in weight too. Both of them can. I mean, if Cormier wins, how they could do the rematch at heavyweight for all I care. But I think hey, that UFC champion, how do you pronounce his name? I don't know how to pronounce that. So, but the current UFC heavyweight champion, I want to see him against Velasquez, to be honest with you. I want to see him versus Velasquez, and then, after that, if Cain Velasquez versus John Jones for the UFC heavyweight championship is money. Okay, that is a big fight, right? And I know who I got in that fight, but that would be a huge fight. Someone says if DC loses, he'll retire. It's possible. I mean, he's up there in age. Lesnar versus Jones is a money fight. Yeah, that's a big money fight, man. They can make a lot of money off of that. And if John Jones loses, they could say, hey, look, this guy was from 205. He went to 260. It was a lot smaller than him. They can always say that. And Jones could always go back to 205. But I think he wins that fight. And if he wins that fight, I mean, it'll be a big win. It'll be a lot of eyeballs there. And you could do the title fight after that. So you get 2 big fights out of him back to back in the heavyweight division. All right. But if he moves up to 205, why would I think Cormier sticks around, no? He might stick around and fight for the 205 title. So, by the way, I've always found 205 like such a random. Why 205? Like what is it with the fives in the UFC? Like 205 and 185 and 170. Well, 170 is different, but then 155 and then 145, then 140. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just, I don't know. I never got that. But that's all I got to say, guys. You got John Jones, more than likely. And then we'll see where everything goes from there. All right? This is DStyle, and I'm out.